Hello and welcome coders to the Sky Coding. So this will be chapter 2 of the Python series, and in this session we will discuss about Python fundamentals, where we will see about tokens, and we have basically 5 types of tokens which are available to us in the Python: identifiers, keywords, literals, operators, punctuators. These all the things which we are going to see in the Python fundamentals. Basically we will be just seeing some of the basic things of the Pythons, what are the keywords and all those things we will discuss in this session. Okay, and talking about the previous session, so in the previous session we have covered all of the concepts, all of the intro part of the Python, that what is Python and what are the applications of the Python and why we need to learn Python only, and what are the means applications of the Python. And we have also seen the big difference between compiler and the interpreter, and we have seen that how compiler is working and how interpreter is working. We have covered all of those things with the flow diagram as well. Okay, so the link will be given in the description box for the previous session of the Python chapter 1 intro and the installation of the Python in the description. You can watch those sessions and you can just get the overview of the Python intro part. Okay, so now we will discuss about Python fundamentals in this chapter 2. Okay, so guys, let me tell you one most important thing. As in our this series, I will just follow my book only. I have this book Python fundamentals, and I have just taken the picture of my book and I have converted those and make the PDF of chapter wise. Okay, so if you want the PDF of my book, then you can text me on the Instagram. I will just provide you the PDF of all the chapters in the chapter wise. Okay, I will just provide you those PDFs chapter wise. Okay, so our chapter 2 is Python fundamentals, and in this chapter we will basically see about the Python character set, and after that we will see about the tokens. Okay, and in the upcoming sessions, in the upcoming chapters, we will see about bare bones of the Python program, variables and assignments, simple input and output. Okay, so now in this video we will just cover Python character set, that is 2.2 topic, and 2.3, that is tokens. We have basically 5 types of tokens which are available to us in the Python. Okay, so we will just cover all of these concepts, means theory, from my book, and after that we will just do the practical. Wherever there is a need of the practical, then we will just do the code and then we will better understand this thing. Okay, so basically in this we will just see the concepts first of all, then we will do the practical. Okay, so this is my first page. As our first page is not so much clear, so that's okay, we will just understand this thing, and rest all of the pages are very good. In the picture you can see these are very good scanned. Okay, you can see the only first page is like some of the blur type of image it got. Okay, so that's not an issue, we will understand this thing. Okay, so first of all let's see that what is a Python character set. Okay, so characters means Python character set means what type of characters, what type of digits, special symbols Python is taking. Okay, so character set is a set of valid characters that a language can recognize. Okay, a character represents any letter, digit or any other symbol. Okay, Python supports Unicode encoding standard. Okay, that means Python is following character set. Okay, Python compiler or the interpreter can just recognize these character sets. Okay, it can just recognize the letters from A to Z in the small or in the caps. Okay, and digits it can recognize from 0 to 9, and these are the special symbols which Python can recognize. You can just read these things. Okay, asterisk, bigger bracket, smaller bracket, square bracket, forward slash, backward slash, less than, greater than, and all those things are written here for the special symbols which Python can recognize. Okay, and it can also recognize the void spaces, means blank spaces, tabs, carriage return, new line character. Okay, this all the things which Python can recognize. Okay, so and after that other characters. Okay, Python can process all of the ASCII and Unicode characters. ASCII means American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, this is basically the full form of the ASCII. Okay, if you want to know in brief about the ASCII, then you can just go to web and you can just search about this, and then you will get more info. Okay, so these are the things which Python can just compile. The interpreter can work with these things. Okay, overall the thing is that we can just use these things while working, while doing the codes in the Python. Okay, so this is about the Python character set, that how many characters, what are the characters which we can use in the Python while doing the coding. Okay, so now let's talk about the most important topic, that is tokens. Okay, tokens is a very important concept of the Python before doing the code. Okay, so everyone is just telling you about this, what is keyword, what is operator, identifier, literals, but they are not telling that what what is the category of keyword, in which category keyword, identifier, literals are coming. Okay, so these keywords, identifier, literals, operators, punctuators are just the category of the tokens. Okay, so token is a parent here, and these keywords, identifiers, and all those things are the child. Okay, so these are the category of the tokens only. Okay, so what is a token? Okay, so a smallest unit of a program is known as a token. Okay, so in a passage of text, suppose that any of the text is written. Okay, in that suppose that any of the paragraph of a text is written. Okay, so the individual word of that paragraph or individual punctuation mark is called an token. Okay, suppose that this is our paragraph is written. Okay, so suppose that this is our full paragraph, okay, which I am just taking as a code. Okay, so suppose that this is written a word passage. Okay, so the passage is a token. Okay, and suppose that this is a comma. Okay, so this is also a token. Okay, so the individual words which are written in the paragraph or the passage of the text are called as tokens. Okay, you can see the definition is written here. Okay, the smallest unit of a program is known as token. The smallest unit of the program, smallest unit of a program, suppose that you have written one program for printing the prime numbers. Okay, so you will just put the condition, you will put the if else, and you can just put the loops as well. So the single word of the code is called as token. Okay, so Python has following tokens. Okay, it has keywords, identifiers, you can call identifiers as the name as well, literals and operators and punctuations. Okay, so now we will just see all of these tokens one by one. Okay, so first of all we will see about the keywords, after that identifiers, after the literals, of operators and punctuators. Okay, so first of all let's see about the keywords, that what is a keyword. Okay, so keywords are the words that convey the special meaning to the language compiler or the interpreter. Okay, these are reserved words for the purpose and must not be used as the normal identifier names. Okay, so every programming language has some of the keywords. As before 4-5 days we have covered one full series for the Snowflake. Okay, so Snowflake or the SQL or the Java or any programming language is having some of the reserved words, means any of the user cannot use those words, means you cannot use those words for defining a variable. Suppose that you are just whenever you are just creating any of the table. Okay, so create or replace table as you do in the SQL, create or replace table, and after that you give the table name. Okay, so you cannot give the table name as a table or create like that, because these are some of the reserved words which are already taken by the our language. Okay, so in the same way in the Python as well, you cannot use these keywords. Okay, you cannot use these keywords as an identifier, means you cannot give these suppose names as while defining a variable. Suppose that you are just defining any of the variable. Okay, so you cannot use these words while defining as the variable. Okay, so a keyword is a word having a special meaning. It is by default reserved by the programming language. Okay, so you cannot use these words as your identifiers. Okay, so let's talk about some of the Python programming language keywords. Okay, so it has false, none, true, and, as, def, continue, break, and all those things are the, you can see, except, else, elif. These are some conditional, looping, and all those things. You cannot use these words as your identifier. These are by default means reserved by the Python programming language. Okay, so this is about the keywords. Keywords are the words which are having special meaning, and they are just being reserved by the programming language, and so that our language compiler or the interpreter can better understand these things. Okay, so you can say these are the keywords which are by default predefined in our Python library. Okay, so this is all about the keywords. Okay, you can read those definitions. Okay, so now let's move to our second token, that is identifiers. Okay, identifier means names. Okay, means what are the names which you can use, means what are the rules which you need to follow while working with the identifier. Suppose that you are just giving name to any of the person. Okay, so how you can give the name. Okay, in the similar way, while working with the Python programming language, we usually give names. We usually give name to any of the variables. Suppose that you are just storing some value and taking inputs from the user, then where you will store that? You will store that input in some variable. Okay, so what are the rules for defining a variables, means what name you can give to the variable. Okay, so we will see. Okay, so identifiers are the fundamental building blocks of a program, as are used as general terminology for the name given to the different parts of the program: variables, objects, classes, functions, list, dictionaries, tuples, etc. Okay, so identifiers are name as, suppose that my name is Shivam, so I am just an identifier. Everyone can identify me with my name. Okay, so my name is an identifier. Okay, you can say identity. Okay, so this is an identifier, means names. Okay, so identifier forming rules of Python are being specified below. Okay, so you have to just follow some of the rules while defining a identifier. Okay, so first rule is an identifier is an arbitrary long sequence of letters or digits. Okay, you can give the identifier name in the letters or in the digits. Okay, but the starting should be from the letter only. Okay, you cannot start the, means you cannot give the name to any of the variable or the class from by starting from the digits. Okay, the first letter must be a character. Okay, the first letter must be a character, and underscore counts as a letter. Okay, suppose that you want to give name as Python regex. Okay, so you can just give Python underscore regex, like that, like a regular expression. Okay, so upper and lower case letters are different. Okay, all characters are significant, as Python is an case sensitive language, so it is just treating uppercase and lowercase characters differently. Okay, so you need to keep in mind that Python is a case sensitive language. Whatever the thing is written in the capital, you have to just write in the capital, and whatever the thing you have to write in the small, you have to write that thing in a small. Okay, so Python is a case sensitive language. Okay, as SQL is not a case sensitive language. Okay, as SQL is a case insensitive language, you can just write in a small or in the caps in the while working with the SQL. Okay, so uppercase and lowercase letters are different. All characters are significant. Okay, the letter 0 to 9 can be a part of identifier except for the first character. Okay, you can give any name to the your identifier. Okay, but you cannot start your name with the digits. Okay, you cannot start the name with the 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, here are the examples are also given. We will see. Okay, some of valid identifiers and invalid identifiers. Okay, so now identifiers are unlimited in length. Case is significant. Python is case sensitive as it treats uppercase and lowercase characters differently. Okay, as I have told you that Python is a case sensitive language. Okay, and identifier must not a keyword of the Python. Okay, you cannot give name of the identifier as a keyword. Okay, you cannot use the break, you cannot use the continue, you cannot give name like this. You cannot give your identifier name as false. Okay, you cannot give name as class, you cannot give name as lambda, because these are the keywords and these are by default reserved by our Python programming language. Okay, so we cannot use these keywords as our identifier names. Okay, so this is about this thing. An identifier cannot contain any special characters except for underscore. Okay, and our identifier name cannot contain special characters. You can use this underscore if you want to give the two names, or suppose that Python regex. Okay, so you can give Python underscore regex, like that way you can give. Okay, but you cannot use dot, you cannot use this asterisk, and all these things you cannot use. Okay, these are some of the special symbols. Okay, you cannot use these symbols for just writing the name of your identifier. Okay, so now you can see here is a note is written. Let's keep in mind Python is a case sensitive as it treats uppercase and lowercase characters differently. Okay, so now let's see some of the examples of valid identifiers and invalid identifiers. Okay, so these are the following some of the valid identifiers. Okay, so you can give name like my file, you can use in the small or you can use in the caps my file. You can start the name with the underscore. Okay, you can give like this way date 97, you can use like this way as well. You can give name like file13, you can give name like this one, you can give name like this one. Okay, and these are some of the valid identifiers. You can give like name of your variable or your class or your function, you can give name like this way. Okay, and these are some of the invalid identifiers. You cannot use this hyphen symbol. Okay, it contains a special character, as here it is written identifier cannot contain any special characters except underscore. You can use underscore here, data underscore rec you can use, but you cannot use hyphen here. Okay, and this is about starting with a digit, as this is written here that identifier name should be start with the character only, it cannot start with the number. Okay, digits. Okay, you can see identifier except for the first character. Okay, so here it is written that 29 start with the digits, it is just starting with the digit, so it is an invalid identifier. Okay, and break, you cannot give your identifier name as the keywords. Okay, so because break is a reserved word, reserved keyword, so you cannot use this break for your identifier name. Okay, and this is my dot file. Okay, you cannot give the dot here because we cannot use any of the special characters while giving the names of our identifiers. Okay, we can use underscore, except underscore we cannot use any of the special characters. Okay, so these are some of the valid identifiers and these are some of the invalid identifiers which we have seen. Okay, so this is all about the identifiers, and now let's move to our third token. Our third token is we have covered these identifiers, and now our third token is literals. We will see about the literals, and after that we will see about the operators and the punctuators. Okay, so now let's move ahead and let's see about the literals. What is literals? Okay, you can call literals as a values. Okay, literals, you can say literals often referred to as constant values or data items that have fixed value. Okay, literals are the means literals are the items, you can say the data items which have the fixed value. Okay, so Python allows several kinds of literals. Okay, so we have string literal, numeric literal, boolean literal, special literal, none. Okay, and literal collections we will see. Okay, so now we will just see all of these literals one by one. Okay, so literals are, you can say literals are the basically the constant value. Literals are the data items who has fixed value, means we cannot change the value. Okay, so now let's talk about the string literals first. Okay, so string literal, the text enclosed in quotes forming a string literal. Okay, so suppose that you have written any text in the single quotes or the double quotes. Okay, so these are the string literal. String means you are just writing any of the string. Okay, as you are writing the string in the single quotes or the double quotes, so these all the string literals only. Okay, so you can see these are some of the valid string literals, that how can you give the string literals. Okay, so you can use name like this way in the single quote, so it is having a fixed value, it is a value of asta. Okay, so we cannot change this value asta. Okay, so it is just fixed, means it is a constant literal. Okay, so this is an string literal. String literal is a very simple. Okay, in a string literal we have all of the characters, means a b c d like that way, but in the numeric literals we will see about the integer, float, we will have all of the things in the integer literals. Okay, so you can give name like in the single quotes or in the double quotes, or if you have apostrophe, so you can give name like this way. And okay, this is basically our integer literal, and you can see all of the things are written here. Okay, so in Python one can form string literals by enclosing text in both forms of the quotes, single quotes or the double quotes. Okay, you can just give the name in the single quotes or the double quotes, and that will be just treated as the string literals. Okay, so here are the some of the checkpoint is written. These are the some of the questions we will see. What is meant by token? Name the tokens available in the Python. Okay, so token is a basically any of the sentence. Suppose that any of the sentence or any of the blocks of code is written, so in that code the individual character, individual word will be just a token. Okay, so how many tokens are available? We have literals, keywords, identifiers, these are the tokens. Okay, what are keywords? Keywords are the reserved meanings. These are by default means reserved by the our programming languages. Okay, can keywords be used as identifiers? So we cannot use the keywords as an identifiers. We have seen this thing here. Okay, and what is an identifier? What are the identifier forming rules? Okay, so what is an identifier? Identifier is a basically a word which we use to define the name of any of our variable, function, class, like that way. What are the identifier? We cannot give name like this way. Okay, we cannot use the hyphen, we cannot start our identifier name with the digit, we cannot use our reserved keywords. Okay, so these are the rules which are written here. Okay, and is Python case sensitive? So yes, Python is case sensitive language. What is meant by case sensitive? So our uppercase and lowercase letters will be treated as differently. Okay, and then the fifth question is which of the following are a valid identifier and why not? Okay, so data rec is a valid identifier because we can use underscore, and this is also a valid identifier. One data is an invalid identifier. Okay, this is invalid identifier because we cannot start our identifier name with the digits. Okay, and this is a valid identifier. This is invalid identifier because we cannot use this dot symbol. Okay, and elif, we cannot use elif because elif is an keyword. So elif is an invalid identifier. Switch is also invalid identifier. Lambda is also invalid identifier. Break is also invalid identifier. Okay, so we have done the practice. We have learned about the keywords, identifiers, and all those things we have seen, and we have done the practice also, because these are the questions which I have solved. Okay, so this is all about this string literals. And now let's move ahead, and these are some of the non-graphic characters. Okay, so non-graphic characters are those characters that cannot be typed directly from the keyboard. Okay, example, suppose the backslash, tabs, or the char is written. Okay, you cannot type these things from the back from your keyboard. Okay, so a string literal is a sequence of characters surrounded by quotes or single quotes or double quotes. We have seen this. Okay, so these are some of the escape sequences in Python. You can just do the study of these things. Okay, and this is for backslash, and this is for escape sequence backslash, and this is for carries return. Okay, you can just see these things. I will just provide you this PDF over the Instagram. You will text me, then I will just provide you this PDFs, then you can just go through these things one. Okay, the escape sequences in Python. Okay, what are the escape sequences? Okay, so this is basically your homework to study these things. Okay, so now we will just see about the string types in Python. We have single line string or the multi-line string. Okay, earlier what we have seen this string literals. Okay, and in the string literals we have two types of string literals. We have single line strings and multi-line strings. Okay, so in the single line string, the name is just suggesting means single line string means we have a string which is just written in the single line. Okay, so single line string, and the string that you create by enclosing a text in the single quotes or the double quotes or normally single string, and that is they must terminate in one line. Okay, so single line string means the string which will is just written in the one line, and they must be terminate in the one line, whether that string is written in the single quotes or the double quotes. Okay, so suppose that I have written this text one, and this is our basically our variable name, and I am just storing this hello, and there hello I am just after typing hello in the single quotes, I am just pressing enter, and after that we are just writing there. Okay, so it will just show you the error. Okay, because we are just writing the single line string. Okay, and if you want to write the multi-line string, then you have to follow some of the rules. Okay, there are some backslashes, and we will see that thing later on. Okay, so it is, you can see a picture is also available. Python will show you an error moment you press an enter key after hello. Okay, as I am just writing as text one is equals to hello there. Okay, so it will just show you the error of the end of line. Okay, end of line. Okay, you can see hello, and after that end of line while scanning a letter, Python shows error when you press enter key without closing the quotes, because it is just taking as the end of line. Okay, the reason for the above error is quite clear. Python by default creates a single line strings with both double quotes. Okay, so whenever you are just declaring any of the variable and you are just giving that variable any of the value, then by default that will Python will take your string as a single line string. Okay, so that's why it is just taking end of the line error. We will see that thing will practical. Okay, and this is our multi-line string. Okay, so suppose that you want to give multi-line string like this way, hello and world. Okay, so you can use this backslash. Okay, so we have basically two methods for creating our multi-line. Okay, multi-line strings can be created in two ways, by adding backslash at the end of the normal line or the double quotes string. Okay, suppose that this is our variable name, and I am just writing hello, and after that I am just giving the backslash and word. Okay, so these two will be just coming in the one line only, because this is our multi-line string. Earlier what we are doing, earlier we are just putting the enter. Okay, we are not writing the backslash. Okay, so that's why it is showing the error. Okay, and here we are just using the backslash. You can use the backslash or you can use the triple quotes as well. We will see that. Okay, so the first method is by adding a backslash at the end of the line. Okay, so you can see we have added the backslash here, and after that we have written the hello world. Okay, adding a backslash at the end of the line allows you to continue typing the text. Okay, you can see give commands next to the input. Okay, so it is just working fine. Okay, and the second method for creating the multi-line string is by typing the text in the triple quotes. So you can just write this way, hello world, like this way, there I came cheers. Okay, so you can just write this way and it will show you the multi-line string as well. Okay, and this is for the size of string. We will just see this thing, multi-line string and single line string. Okay, we will do the practical. Okay, so just wait for a few minutes. After that we will move to the VS Code and we will see. Okay, and size of the string, size of the string is very very same. Python determines the size of string as the count of characters in the string. Okay, so suppose that this is our string. Okay, so this is having two backslashes. Okay, so the size is 1, as in escape sequence represents backslash. Okay, and this is for ABC, size is 3, and this is size is 2, CMAs, and this is size is 1, and this is size is 4. Okay, and these things are not counted. Okay, but if your string literal has an escape sequence contained within it, then make sure to count the escape sequences as one character. Okay, so suppose that here you have this two backslashes, then these two backslashes will be just treated as one only. So that's all about the size of a string. Okay, so for multi-line string created with triple quotes, you can just create triple quotes a multi-line string by using the triple quotes or by using the simply backslash. Okay, so this is the thing which I have seen, and now we will just move to the numeric literals. Okay, and after numeric literals we have to do the practical as well for the single line and multi-line strings. Okay, so in the numeric literals, we have integer literals, float literals, and complex literals. As while in the string literals, we have just string, means characters written A, B, C, D like that in the single quotes or the double quotes. Okay, and we have seen how can we write the single line string and multi-line string. Okay, in the numeric literals means we have just and digits, means we have some of the values which are numeric values. Okay, so it is called often as integer. Okay, and float, in the float we have floating point numbers. You can say in the complex we have complex numbers are of the form ABC. Okay, so these are some of the numeric literals. Okay, so we don't have to see these things, you can just read out these things. Okay, we will just provide you this PDF, then you can just go through this. Okay, so Python allows you three types of integer literals. Okay, so first one is decimal integer literal. You can write the values like this way, decimal integer literals. Okay, and Python also supports the octal integer literals. Okay, and Python also supports the hexadecimal integer literals. Okay, so these are the things that how many types of integer literals which are available to us in the Python, and how many types of literals Python is just supporting. Okay, these are our integer literals we have seen, and now we will see about the floating point literals. We have floating point literals, and we have first of all that is fractional form. This is the fractional form, you can see, and after that we have exponent form. Okay, so this is our floating point literals. Okay, and you can read out these things if you want. Okay, and now we will just move to the boolean literals, and after that we will cover special literal none. Okay, and after that our this literals topic will be completed, and after that we will see about the punctuators and the operators, which is a very important topic. Okay, so now let's talk about our fourth literal, that is boolean literal. Okay, a boolean literal is Python is used to represent one of the two boolean value. It is a very simple. We have basically two types of boolean literals. First one is true and the second one is false. True means 1 and false means 0. If you know about that digital logics, if you have understood, then you must be knowing about this true or false. True means 1. True basically represents for 1 and false represents for 0. Okay, true and false are the only two boolean literals values in the Python. Okay, none literal represents absence of the value. Okay, if you are using none, then means it is not having any of the value, and it is just a absence of the value. Okay, so we have basically two types of boolean literals. First one is true and the second one is false. This is about the boolean literals. Okay, and now let's talk about the special literal none. Okay, so Python has one special literal which is none. Okay, so the none is just representing that absence of the value, means that thing is not having any of the value. And you can see here value 1 is 10, means the value of 1 is 10, and the value 2 means the value of the variable value 2 is none. Okay, so means it is not having any of the value, as it is a none. Okay, so none is just representing the absence of the value, as you can see it is written here. Okay, it is used in the Python to indicate the end of the list. Okay, when we will see this thing whenever we will work with the lists. Okay, and you can see these are the things we have just declared this value to variable as none, means it is not having any of the value, and it is just indicating the absence of that value. Okay, so this is all about this special literal none. Okay, so this is all about these things which is literals. We have seen all of the literals, and these are some of the exercises which we will do, and these are the questions you can see here. This is your homework. You can just do these questions, then you will better understand these things. Okay, your concept will be more clear. Okay, and I have just solved the checkpoint 2.1, and now you have to just solve this checkpoint 2.2. Okay, and if you face any type of doubt here, then you can just ask me. Okay, and you can see all of the things. We have basically 13 questions here, so you have to just solve these questions. These are basically theoretical only. Okay, this is a very simple concept. Okay, you can just solve these things. Now we will just study these operators, and after that we will see punctuators. Okay, so we have covered literals. Okay, so let's move to earlier where we have all those things. So let's scroll up, and we will see that thing. Okay, so what are the things which we have covered so far? Okay, so we have covered keywords, we have covered identifiers, we have covered literals. Okay, in the literals we have string literals, numeric literals, floating point literals, and boolean literals, and the special literal, that is none. Okay, so we have seen these three keywords, identifiers, literals, and now we will see about operators and punctuators, and after that we will just end up this session. Okay, so we have just left with the one practical, that multi-line string and the single line string. Okay, so let's do that thing. Okay, so suppose that you want to just declare any of the variable a. Suppose that let me give a is equals to let me give in the single quotes. Okay, let me give here hello. Okay, hello. Okay, and after that I will not just close this single quotes. Okay, after that I will put enter. Okay, so whenever I will put enter, then it will show you the error. Okay, you cannot write like this way. Okay, so let me check with this way. Okay, hello world. Okay, suppose that I am just writing this way. Okay, so this will just show you the error. Okay, and if you want to write the multi-line string, then you have to just use here backslash. Okay, and now you can see now your code is fine, and your variable a is having this value. Okay, a hello world. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, so this is about single quotes, means single quotes or double quotes. You can use here single quote or the double quote. Okay, let me use the double quote as well. Okay, so double quote will also work. Okay, and this is our multi-line string. You can just write multi-line string. Okay, as I have told you one method as well, you can just use the three quotes as well. Okay, so let me write the three quotes, and after that hello, and after that let me write here as well. Okay, hello world. Okay, so this is the thing by which you can use the multi-line string. How can you create the multi-line string? Okay, as I have told you, two methods we have. Okay, so first one is by using the backslash, and the second one is this is, you can see, by adding a backslash, and the second one is by giving the triple quotes, you can see. Okay, so these are the things which we have seen. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, and if we will write this thing in the different line, then we have seen that it was showing the error. Okay, so let's show you once again. Okay, hello, and whatever I will write here, so it is just showing the error. Okay, you can see. Okay, and whenever I will give here backslash, then you can see it is working fine. Okay, so this is about the single line string and multi-line string. Okay, you can just execute this, and this will work fine, and whenever you will remove this backslash, then it will show you the error. Okay, you can see it is written in white, and it is written in like this way. Okay, so Python supports this multi-line string and single line string, but by default when you write the any of the line, any of the variable, then that will be just taken as the single line string. Okay, so this is all about this thing. Okay, so now we will just understand about the operators, and after that we will see punctuators, and we will end up this session. Okay, so this is your homework checkpoint 2.2. You can just go through this thing. Okay, so we will basically go through these operators. We will just see some of the theories only for the operators, and after that we will just cover these operators in brief in the upcoming session. Okay, so as this operators is means a prerequisite, so we are just taking these operators. So operators are the tokens that trigger some of the computation when applied to a variables and other objects in the expression. Okay, so operators are the tokens that trigger some computation. Okay, operators we have basically plus, minus, division, multiplication, not. Okay, so these are some of the operators as we use operators in the mathematics for just calculating some of the value. As whenever you are just using plus, so it will just add, and whenever you are using the minus, so it will just subtract. Okay, so like that operators are the tokens that do some of the computation if you are doing in the variables. Okay, variables and objects to which computation is applied. Okay, so these are called operators. So suppose that whenever you have studied math, then you must be knowing about the operators, operand, and remainder, and all those things. Okay, so whatever variable, on which variable we are just applying this operators. Okay, so those variables or the objects are called as operands. Okay, so an operator requires some operands to work upon. Without operands means without any variable, how can we use the operator? We need basically any of the values for just applying this operator, right? So we will just cover these operators in the data handling chapter. Okay, we will cover all those things briefly there. Okay, so meanwhile just take these some of the concepts of the operator, that what are operators and how many types of operators are available to us. Okay, so we have a unary operator, binary operator, arithmetic operator, bitwise operator, shift operator, identity operators. Okay, and we have this relational operators and assignment operators, logical operators, membership operators. Okay, so we have all these types of operators. You can just go through these things. Okay, so unary operators, we have unary operators are those operators that require one operand to operate upon. So this is a plus, so this is a unary plus, this is unary minus, this is bitwise complement delta, and this is not logical negation. Okay, so this is unary operators. Okay, these are some of the binary operators. Binary operators are those operators that require two operands to operate upon. Okay, so following are the some of the binary operators. Okay, so we have arithmetic operators. Okay, and addition is subtraction, multiplication, division, remainder, exponent, flow, division. Okay, so these are the arithmetic operators. Okay, and we have bitwise operators, bitwise and bitwise exclusive or bitwise or. Okay, and we have shift operator, this is shift left, shift right, and we have identity operators, is then identity name, is not is then identity not same. Okay, so is means identity is same, is not is identity not same. We will just better understand this thing when we will use these things in the code. Okay, meanwhile just see that thing, that what is arithmetic operators and how many types of arithmetic operators are there. Okay, so these are plus, minus, multiplication, division arithmetic operators. Okay, so we have seen till identity operators. Okay, and now we have relational operators as well, less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. Okay, so like this. Okay, so the image is blurred. Okay, so sorry for that. I think image got blurred by some way, so sorry for that. But I will just provide you some good images. Okay, I will just try to make another PDF. Okay, so we have, these are the relational operators, and these are assignments operator, assignment, assignment quotient, assignment sum, product, remainder, difference, like that. Okay, and we have these logical operators, and or not. Okay, and we have membership operators, in or not in. Okay, so these are membership operators. Okay, meanwhile just take these things, that what are membership operators, in and not in are membership operators, and less than, greater than are relational operators, and or not logical operators, assignment question, sum, product, these are assignment operators. Okay, and we will just go through this thing once again whenever we will deal with the data handling. Okay, then we will better understand these things, and we will just do the practical of these things as well while dealing with the data handling. Okay, then we will again see the operators. Okay, and now let's talk about the punctuators. This is our last topic of this session, punctuators. Okay, so punctuators are the symbols that are used in the programming languages to organize the sentences. Okay, as we use the punctuation marks while writing in English. Okay, suppose that you are writing in English any of the paragraph, so you use comma, double quotes, single quotes, and you are just changing the line, full stop you are using. Okay, so these are the some punctuation marks only, as you are just using in the English while writing with the pen. Okay, so in the programming languages also there are punctuations. Punctuators are the symbols that are used in the programming languages to organize the sentence. Okay, so that our sentence should look good like that way. Okay, as a Python is just following the indentation. Okay, for representing the block of code, as while in the Java we basically use the curly braces for representing the block of code, but Python is not using any of these curly braces or the square bracket or any of the bracket. Python is just using the indentation, so you need to follow the indentation as well. Okay, we will just understand that thing in the bare bones of the Python program. We will see one program and we will just describe the full program, that what is indentation, comments, and all those things. Okay, so most common punctuators of the Python programming language are the single quote, double quote, hash, forward slash, backslash, and the square bracket, curly brace, at the rate, colon, dot, and all those things. Okay, so these are some of the punctuators which we can use in the Python. Okay, so punctuators are the symbol that are used in the programming language to organize programming sentence. Okay, as basically we use punctuators in our programming, in our copy also. Whenever we write something in a copy, then we use punctuator, we put full stop, we put comma, like that. If you are not putting full stop or comma, then how the sentence will look, how you can understand, how a reader can understand that where I have to take the pause, small pause and big pause, like that. Because so punctuators are the symbols which basically we use to organize the programming sentences, okay, so that it looks good and interface should be also good, okay. So this is about the punctuators, okay, and you can just revise all those things here, okay. And in the next session we will just cover this bare bones of the Python program. We will see all those things, okay. So that's all for today's session, and let us revise those things, okay. So a token is a smallest unit of the individual program, okay. And there are basically five types of tokens: keywords, identifiers, literals, okay, all these punctuators and keywords, operators, okay. These are some of the tokens, okay. So Python provides tokens, keywords, identifiers, okay. These are the tokens we have seen. And what is keyword? Is reserved word, okay, carrying a special meaning. Identifier are user defined names, okay, for different parts of the program, okay. In Python, and identifier may contain later, like this way. You can give the name of your identifier, okay. You can use the underscore, okay. And literals are having the fixed value. Python allows following literal: string literal, numeric literal, floating point literal, okay. And one is non-literal, which means represent the absence of the value, okay. And operators or the token that trigger some computation, okay. We have seen all of that operators: arithmetic operator, bitwise operator, and all those things we have seen, okay. Punctuators are the symbols which we use for organize the programming sentence, okay. So these are the things, these are basically the things which we have seen, okay. And we have just revised all those things, okay. So now let's show you that what is your homework. So your homework is that you have to just solve this checkpoint 2.2. There are basically 13 questions, and these are some theoretical questions only, okay. So whenever you will just go through these questions, then you will better understand the concept, okay. So this is your homework, and we have covered all of the things, and I will just provide you this PDF of this chapter 2, that is Python fundamentals, and you can go through it once, and then you will better understand this thing, okay. So that's all about this session, Python fundamentals, and this is our 2.1 chapter, okay, where we have seen about the tokens, okay. And in the next session we will see about the bare bones of the Python program, okay. So that's all for today's session. Bye, take care of yourself, guys. Meet you soon in the next very interesting tutorial of the Python 2.2 chapter, where we will see about the bare bones of the Python program, and we will see about the comments, inline comments, multi-line comments. We will see about the functions, and some of the structure of the program and syntax of the Python program, and we will see about print statement, all those things we will discuss. So that's all.